Another iconic Hercules Beetle type serving as a direct upgrade from the mighty and iconic Arcbeetle. It is KBT06 Arcbeetle D, with a kit of laser, rifle, Gatling, biped legs, and the B-loader leg ability, which buffs your evasion relative to the Metaforce charge of the user. Now, kind of serving as a contrast to the iconic and ever-powerful Arcbeetle, which focuses on basically raw shooting power right from square one. Arcbeetle D seems to take this kind of in stride and focus more on a balance kit, kind of as a step lower, but a more utilization-friendly version of Arcbeetle that can be used in more long, drawn-out fights with fewer weaknesses. Laser is an optic-based shooting attack that serves as a high power with pierce damage, and as relative to your Metaforce gauge, you get a times 1.5 damage bonus at 30% charge, and a times 2 damage bonus at 100%. Right arm of rifle is a standard shooting attack with no major drawback or detriment, so a very solid, balanced, conventional shooting attack all around as a perfect balanced combat skill. Left arm of Gatling is a scattered AoE and another conventional shooting attack that will damage one part normally and then 2 others at random at 1/3 of your total damage. So by himself, already serves as kind of a step down in a more utilization-friendly version of Arcbeetle, focusing better on trading a little bit of his higher power in favor of an additional head use and better armor and well-rounded stats across the board. So even though he may not be as fast or as powerful as Arcbeetle by himself, the B-loader leg ability also does tie into this pretty well as more of your balanced shooter, because the higher your Metaforce charge goes, even though laser really is the only part on his build that makes use of a Metaforce charge, that can definitely come in handy too to help kind of bolster his likelihood of dodging or grazing attacks to help keep damage low. Arcbeetle D, however, is capable of Medachange, where he will change his kit to basically mirror Arcbeetle entirely, but much faster and better rounded skits all across the board, where he exchanges his kit from laser into Hyperbeam, rifle into power rifle, and Gatling into Mega Gatling. He also changes his leg type from biped to flight, and changes his ability from B-loader to adapter, which changes all terrain matches to A rank across the board, excluding those already at A rank or S rank, say for instance cyber terrain. So right from here, this is where Arcbeetle says, alright, if I'm going to be an upgrade to Arcbeetle, it's time I show the world that's exactly what I am. And with this, as mentioned, he basically does mirror Arcbeetle's kit entirely. Hyperbeam is a much stronger version of laser and beam in addition, as it does get the times 2 damage bonus at 30% charge and the times 3 bonus at 100% with pierce damage. Power rifle is a standard shooting attack that gets a times 1.5 damage bonus as long as the user's legs are intact, or in Arcbeetle D's case, as long as you stay alive. And Drive C is Mega Gatling, where again it's a scattered AoE, much like Gatling, but you get the times 1.5 damage bonus in addition. So a very solid kit all around, especially being flight legs. It means he's going to have a very naturally high base mobility and an even higher evade at roughly nearly 2,000 or so, between 1,500 and 2,000, if I recall correctly, for what he does offer. So very, very agile in the air, very nimble. The only thing really holding him back is whenever he is using any of his skills. As a pure set score across the board, I do honestly have to rate Arcbeetle D at a very solid 9 out of 10. He can honestly convert between your conventional shooter and your dedicated shoot nuker very easily within the span of one turn. Granted that you have the Metaforce charge to sustain that, because all 3 of his drives do require 10 charge in order to maintain. However, if you do have a hunter or sniper nature metal, you can very easily counteract this, and once you do transform, you can honestly keep that form more or less entirely until you feel the need to transform back. And if anything, the Hornet medal, for anyone that did pick it up from a previous event, is definitely going to be the best medal choice and basically tailor fit to what Arcbeetle D will offer. As mixed parts, I do have to rate Arcbeetle D just a hair lower at an 8 out of 10. Again, incredible balance for what he offers. You can use any of his parts anywhere without any major drawback or detriment. However, of course, with him being a Medachange set, if you do use him as mixed parts, you are kind of missing out on a lot of his nuking-based skills that you could capitalize on, so that you can use him as your conventional nuker or your dedicated shoot nuker, and he can basically switch back and forth whichever is deemed the safest at the time.